I'm Jane Barrick, and I'm passionate about adult education and lifelong learning. I'm also the creator of a membership community called the Adult Learning Hub, an exclusive space for global adult learning professionals to more confidently navigate a shifting world of work together. In today's episode of the podcast, I talk to my fellow hubber and adult education consultant, Rebecca Eller Molitas, about virtual communities of practice, what they're all about, why you should join, and how to get the most out of these spaces. I'm glad you're here. Cozy up, grab your favorite beverage, and let's get into it. Innovative uses of technology to support learning are emerging at exponential rates at this point in history through virtual communities of practice. Some we see on public platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook, while others are in more private spaces, exclusive to a particular group of people wanting to see specific results, or perhaps go into more depth on topics important to them. The value of an online community for educators of adults, like in the Adult Learning Hub, for example, lies in making a similar level of investment and having a rich exchange of stories, experiences, and ideas where practitioners feel respected. They share common interests and are supported and have a sense of belonging. This is really what a community of practice is all about. All right, so let's get clear on what it actually is. So a community of practice is a group of people who share a common concern, a set of problems or challenges, or an interest in a topic, and who come together to fulfill both individual and group goals. They often focus on sharing best practices and creating new knowledge to advance a domain of professional practice. Interaction with other members on an ongoing basis is an important part of this. For me, one of the most interesting phenomena actually about virtual communities of practice is that often we connect with individuals who we might have never met in person on a much deeper level than our colleagues or friends in our regular networks who we might interact with every day. So a bit about my guest today, Rebecca. She began her career in adult education as an ESL teacher in Japan. And since returning to the US, she has been fortunate to teach and lead in nonprofit and educational community in roles in all areas of adult learning, from basic literacy to teacher training. Now, because Rebecca has focused on developing an integrated understanding of the vital aspects that make adult basic education successful, she offers a unique insight into creating connections between us in order to experience better outcomes. So let's hear what she has to say about communities of practice and what they mean for her as an educator of adults in our changing world of work. So, Rebecca, in your view, why participate in a virtual community of practice?
Jane, I think that I really expected my sense of community and my career momentum to break down over this 2 years that I've been basically working from my living room. Tons of canceled in-person events, no conferences where I typically meet fellow educators. But joining these virtual communities of practice has really helped me to feel that sense of professional support. It's a bit like a digital oasis for me. It's been a very challenging 2 years, and many of our lives look radically different than what we had planned. For me, once I let go of the expectations about how my new career, which I began in April of 2020, was going to look, I started to experiment with ways to make the best of what I've got. And I became active in 3 online communities of practice. It has been incredibly valuable for me. And as far as the why, I think I have a few really big things. For me, it provides ongoing professional development. It keeps me motivated. It provides international networking, which I love for a wider sense of what's going on in the field. And it gives me a greater sense of what's possible. Sometimes I think we get into our own silos and we only are able to dream about things that we've seen before. But working with an international community, you learn about brilliant things that are happening all over the world. and you can aspire to a new level of how you engage in your practice.
What do you find virtual communities of practice provide you with that other forms of CPD or professional development don't?
One of the things that I really appreciate about the virtual communities is that they allow me flexibility in scheduling. I feel that many of us who have been working from home are working at all different hours based on our responsibilities. Also, sometimes we're spending a lot of time on video on a screen. And I really like that a virtual community of practice gives me multiple methods of engagement. So for example, I love when I can go for a walk or do the dishes or cook dinner and consume audio content rather than just having to sit at my computer and read something. I also really like that when I do miss other people, there's an opportunity to hop in and meet other people sort of face to face. And as I mentioned earlier, I really like the removal of geographic barriers. I've made some friends through these communities that I love keeping in touch with that I never would have met if it wasn't for being active in a virtual community of practice like the Hub.
For us as adult learning professionals, why do we need to participate in communities of practice in today's day and age?
Our field has gone through rapid and very intensive change over the last 2 years. We are all handling some parts of that change better than others. And a virtual community of practice gives us an opportunity to come together with peers and share what's worked for us and learn in the areas that we're weak from other people who have been more successful. I also think that many people have felt isolated and alone over the last couple of years, and perhaps that's even a community condition as a whole, not just based on the pandemic. Investing in a community with like-minded people gives us a chance to give back and to create that feeling of community that can sometimes be missing.
So interesting. And when we think about participating in a community of practice, obviously these communities become more valuable with each and every person who joins and contributes. So I'm curious, to be a good community member, what are your top tips?
Ooh, that's a juicy question. I think this is different for everyone, depending on personality. For me, I would say my number one is that you get out what you put in. And related to that, I would say something that I love that Dory Clark says, which is that interested is interesting. You need to care about what others are doing, be open-minded to meeting lots of new people. I've had some of the best interactions by not looking for a title or a role or a specific level and just being open to learning what other people are doing. You never know where that's going to go, what you might learn. So I think that the opportunity to be interested in lots of things is really vital. And for me personally, I need to schedule my participation. As one of my girlfriends says, I'm type AAA, so I can get overscheduled in my life very easily. And I don't want to neglect my community. So I need to have a set time in my day when I interact or certain times in my week. And I need to look for creative ways to consume and contribute content. So I may send an audio message while I'm cooking, or listen to a masterclass while I'm going for a walk, or enjoy a quick podcast episode while I'm folding my laundry.
Rebecca, thank you so much for your insights. It was really great to discuss with you today communities of practice, and I look forward to connecting again soon.
Thanks so much for having me, Jane, and thanks for being a community creator. They're so needed in this time that we're living in.
They are. Thank you again. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an adult learning professional looking for a community of like-minded peers where we can all navigate a new world of work together more confidently, come and join us. Go to the adultlearninghub.com for more information on membership opportunities.